One of the questions that people have been asking a lot as I've been milking our new dairy cow Hope out in the field is, what are you going to do when it's raining? And the answer is milk in the rain. And it's raining. You want to go outside? Go ahead. It's actually let up just a little bit. So I'm going to try to get out here right now and get it done because it's supposed to start raining harder and I can't wait any longer to milk her. Hey, sweet Maya.
It's cold.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
Every time I wake up and it's like wet and cold, I quit. Do I have to work out my 2 weeks?
The reality of growing food and homesteading and having a farm is that you don't get days off. It has to be cared for every single day, rain or shine, no matter what. Now, there are some tasks that can be moved around, like I won't be planting cabbages today, but things like this, every day, no matter what. And while yes, we are calf sharing, which means that you can like skip a day if you leave the calf on. We pulled the calf last night, so we have to milk this morning. And I probably wouldn't use a skip day just because of some rain. Now, if I looked at the radar and it was going to be like severely thunderstorming or something like that, I would not have pulled the calf. But for a little bit of rain, we're not gonna milk. Oh, before I proceed, I need to do my job and promote the things I'm supposed to promote. Our new episode of Wilder Still is out now on Abundance Plus. Abundance Plus is a platform that my friend Justin Rhodes and his wife Rebecca created. And his heart behind it was to create kind of like a grassroots movement where we could make high quality shows to really depict the homesteading life and eventually other lifestyles like this for people to be able to be inspired by, to learn by. And we had the honor of being one of the first shows on the platform. It's been an incredible journey. I've got several videos that I've talked about it, but as of right now, I will put a link down below where if you're not already signed up for Abundance Plus, you can go sign up for a subscription to that and watch our new episode. And I'll also go ahead and put the preview of that episode right here. I wish that there had been a camera rolling and somebody else telling the story when I was sitting at my piano and nobody knew our name. I wish somebody had been there telling the story when I was on my back porch writing in my journal and thought, I think I'm supposed to do a YouTube channel. I'm so certain that this thing is gonna play out in such a beautiful and miraculous way that I was like, I think we need a story. I think we need this documented. Years from now, somebody's gonna look back on that and go, wow, that's what can happen whenever you dream and you just do the next right thing that's in front of you. Pretty awesome. It's been really thrilling to be able to tell this story, and already this episode has been out for the last day and we've received so much feedback from the members of Abundance Plus that are just following us along in our story and cheering for us. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for signing up and watching that. It supports us in a massive way. I gotta get out in the rain and milk this cow because it's starting to come down.
What's the saying?
She laid in poop right where my face is.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with real food comes dirty, right?
It's not funny, Jeremiah. It's not a funny joke.
Are you gonna gag?
No.
I would gag.
Well, it's just grass poop.
Just don't lay your face up against
Stop
it.
talking about it, okay?
If you do, I'm not snuggling you.
Stop talking about it. I'm serious. Stop talking about it.
Hey, girl. Did you know you laid in poop?
Hey, come help me. Come get this.
Yeah.
All right, I got probably a little over 2 gallons and I need to get that inside, but first we're moving the laying hens in here. We're gonna set up the electric fence. Do you think that having the electric fence in here, they'll navigate around it, the cows? I know
they're not gonna touch the electric fence. I mean, they might once.
Yeah.
Usually it's one time.
Okay. Bear, stop it, you nasty. You kiss your mother with that mouth.
He's like, kiss me now.
So we've got quite a bit of cow patties kind of along this whole fence where we've been milking. Last night we kept Hope in that little paddock, but we are about to set up the electric fence, and we're going to leave these gates so we don't have to move them while it's raining where the cows can get through them. But we're going to put these laying hens all across this where all this poop is. Because the cows are getting a little bit of grain, it's still there when it gets through to the other end, and those hens will scratch through all that. Of course, cow manure is like grass based, and when it's spread out it just breaks down and adds nitrogen back to the soil, feeding the grass and making our pasture healthier. But right now, when it's piled up, it's the perfect place for flies to lay their eggs, which then we have more of a risk for our cows getting sick, or they're just extremely bothered by the flies. I mean, we don't want either of those things. But by putting the chickens on there, they're gonna scratch it all up and break it down. It's gonna be a little inconvenient because we're actually gonna block off this gate, so we'll have to go around for milking. But we need to get this handled, and it'll only take a few days of the chickens being there for it to not be an issue. All right, I'm gonna take this milk in and strain it. Bear, you coming with me? I'm gonna do this really quick so I can get back out there and help them get the chicken set up before the hard rain comes. I need to get back outside. I got too much clothes on to be in this warm house. Oh, hey, sidetrack. Look what I have out here in my little garden. Snap peas. I'm probably being a little bit silly about it, but like everything, it's like my first pea here. My first lettuce. Oh, and it's so good because it's cold outside. I was so excited about my first lettuces, my first radishes, our first milk, our first eggs. At some point I have to just be like, okay, we live here and we've been here for a while and the food's really coming in, but I'm not there yet. So is that fence covering more space than you realized?
Well, I'm just not going all the way around them.
You don't think you think they'll get through that okay?
The cows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
So you're just implementing part of the fence that's here. Will they come out underneath that gate?
No, they can't. It's too low to the ground.
Okay. Well, those are cool little doohickeys, Maya.
Yeah, we had one in Arkansas that I think Benterm brought, and it worked out really good.
Where'd you get them?
I got these at Home Depot.
At Home Depot? He said in the key section. Gear tie. That's clever for using with these electric fences because they're rubber. Nice. What do you think on this much space with that flock being as small as it is? Probably 3 or 4 days? Maybe
longer.
Maybe a week?
Just keep an eye on it whenever it looks like they've scratched through all the doo-doo.
We'll move them over to the next. This is going to be a little bit inconvenient because it blocks off this gate that we get in, but what Maya's going to do is move, like reconfigure this corral so that we at least have a gate that goes directly into the pasture, but he'll do it when it's not raining. All right, Bear, come on out of here. Come on, you're making bad decisions with your life right now. It's grossing me out. Come on, go out, you poop eater. All right, so one of the things we did with our chickshaw, which we built this off of Justin's design, but we added an electric door, and it's nice because when we want to move our chickens, we just turn the programming off of this the night before so that they're blocked in the coop and we don't have to chase them around. And you can program this to come on every morning at a certain time or with light. Come on. Goodness. All right, do your job, ladies. Taking part in the process of keeping a homestead healthy with everyone doing their job. What I am about to do is neither wise or a recommendation that I would make to you. This is definitely a do as I say and not as I do situation. Dang, get my phone out of this pocket. And I'm going to fill the front pocket of this jacket with all these eggs because I did not bring anything out to hold them. Sometimes we do things like this that we know we should not. And hopefully I don't make a pocket omelet with these things. This is a nice jacket for gathering eggs. I mean, if you were to say that that was a good thing to do. This nice large pocket in the front is very convenient. I actually get asked about clothes a lot. It's not something that like I necessarily take a lot of time talking about on videos. But you know, for a lot of people who are moving out to start homesteads for the first time, it's actually something that you might take for granted that you have to think about, like the proper attire for homesteading. And I don't think that we should shame anybody who's talking about it. I get asked a lot about clothes, and then I have a lot of people being like, we don't care about your clothes. But truly, like, I remember when I moved out of the city onto a farm and I was Googling things like clothes for homesteading, and it was because I didn't know what to buy and what you needed. And the thing that I have found, really, overalls really are your friend as far as finding pairs that fit well. What I like to do is I like to find a brand that I like. Usually they're higher end brands, like this jacket's LL Bean and these overalls are Patagonia, which they're just really well made. A lot of those are made, you know, ethically and stuff, but I like to find them on eBay. And so what I'll typically do is I'll like buy one article of clothing so I really get the idea of my size, because I don't live in a place where there are a lot of stores like that, so I can't just go in and try things on. And when I find what size I wear, which I'm like a size 10 women's, and I usually order clothes like this in a large because I would rather them be baggy where I can move around. And when I find the size that I wear, I just shop on eBay to buy things secondhand for the most part. And when I find a good article of clothing like these overalls or like a jacket like this, that I'm like, man, I really like how warm this is. I like that it's waterproof. I like that it has a big pocket. I just wear the heck out of it. And for me, buying stuff like this secondhand, I mean, it makes it more affordable. And also I like the fact that it's not putting pressure on more like new manufacturing of clothing. Hand in hand with the homesteading like ideology is to wow, y'all put that food on the poop.
I did. I wanted to give them a head start.
There's like food on all the piles of poop.
I mean, they're gonna scratch through it anyway. Now they're definitely gonna scratch through it.
The theme of poop in this vlog is like grossing me out.
But then we're gonna eat what they make out of it.
No. Speaking of homesteading ideologies.
A lot of people right now are watching this going, you were serious about that? Real food.
Real food comes dirty. But when it comes to like clothes for homesteading, finding those things that are functional and doing it in a thrifty way, I really do feel like that just goes in with the vein of not being necessarily dependent on what might be like a cultural norm. One thing I think we really must come to an understanding on is that right now there are so many people who are jumping off into a homesteading lifestyle for the first time. I have really decided in my life that I don't ever want to create a culture or add to a culture where people can't ask questions, where they can't learn, where they're like belittled for not knowing something. Because you know, I'm a millennial and I did not grow up learning this stuff, and I think I might have learned more than some people did, because like I did learn how to fish when I was a kid, and my mom did garden even if we weren't growing like a lot of our own food, so I probably had even more exposure than what a lot of people did. Even still, I mean, the last 8 years for us has been a massive learning curve, and it's surprising to me, like we talk to so many people who are looking for land, who are moving out of cities, who are deciding for the first time that they're going to do this. So many people. I can tell you, I have talked to, in the last couple of weeks, not going to a conference, not doing anything out of the ordinary, I have probably talked to in person almost 10 different people through like school events and church stuff and just, you know, meeting different friends. And that's not even counting just the countless hundreds of comments that we get on a regular basis. There are so many people that are moving out of cities and they're jumping off into homesteading and they're almost embarrassed. They're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. And they're even sometimes like, I don't even have a reason for wanting to do this. I don't, you know, like, I don't have a background in this. I don't have experience in this. And it makes me really sad how many people feel like they have to qualify the desire to jump off in this lifestyle. Because I think this lifestyle is worthy and rich and valuable. For those of us who saw grocery store shelves empty for the first time in our lives last year, you know, have finally just realized we don't want to be completely dependent on a food system that has obvious cracks and weaknesses in it. I am only supportive of people who want to jump off into this. And my only goal for those people is to create a space where you can ask questions like, hey, what clothes should I get for this lifestyle? That's a valid question. And I want to encourage all of you who have a year's experience, 6 months experience, whether you've been researching while you live in an apartment, you've been watching vlogs like mine, blogs, you know, getting on Abundance Plus, learning what you can, searching on Pinterest, reading books, trying to absorb whatever information you can. I stand up and give you a round of applause because right now you are becoming a resource that even now you have something to offer for these people who are scared to ask basic questions. And there are a lot of them. There are so many people that are saying, I just feel like I need to do this. And it's up to those of us who have, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be somebody who has decades and decades of experience. I am so thankful for those people because they have taught me so much of what I know. But I'm not going to hold back on what I could equip somebody else with because it might be considered stupid or unnecessary or whatever. Just any experience and knowledge is valuable. And the more we validate that as people who are doing the research and learning the things, the more we're going to be able to help people in this process. You know, I don't ever want to sound like ranty or preachy about this topic, but I really do want to stand in defense of the people who are brave enough to ask questions and also the people who are brave enough to share their knowledge. Because when I look around and I see that there are so many people who are my peers that have come into my garden and said, I didn't know tomato plants had flowers on them, or I didn't know XYZ, like basic things. People, I mean, how many people have asked me if my cow that I'm milking is a boy or a girl? And I'm not going to shame a person for asking a question whenever they grew up in a world where that knowledge was nowhere for them to access. That was not something that was experiential for them. That was not something that they were taught automatically. And if we meet earnest, brave questions with a shaming answer, then people will just stop asking those questions and they'll stay in a place that they don't grow and they don't learn. While I am 100% always going to tell you, don't do this for your survival. Do it to thrive no matter what the need necessitates. But what if there ever was a situation where the food that was in your yard was really important, more important than it is now? I mean, like right now, if my crop fails, I just go to the grocery store. But what if it was? And I will stop just even posing that question. That is not a question to let fear rise up in you. But I think that whenever we eliminate shame and fear from questions like that, and from questions about the cow and the tomato plant and about the clothes that we should wear, when we eliminate shame and fear from those, what would happen? How much growth would happen? How much beauty would happen? What would our earth look like? What would our relationships look like? And I wonder how many people would jump off into this lifestyle if shame and fear were completely eliminated from the equation. And so I just encourage those of you who are standing in that gap and providing information and encouragement without shame and fear. And for those of you who are seeking out information and encouragement in spite of the shame and fear that you're probably running into in some places, and my hope and with what I can share is that maybe we can create a place and continue to create a place where this information could go out, and people could be brave, and they could try something new, and they could take responsibility for their food. And I really believe it, and I've said it so many times, I believe that, you know, the home garden could change the world in that way. The small homestead could change the world in that way. We're not going to belittle little efforts, because I think that little efforts are what comes together to change the world. So that was my little spill, my little encouragement for the day, my cheerleader talk, as I say. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this beautiful, dreary homestead morning with lots of poop and rain and non-romantic circumstances. I'm still wooed by it, and I still love sharing it with you. I bless you. Until next time.